east of Alice Springs, and then there's quite a bit to see and do around there, so hopefully you'll enjoy the video.
A bit warmer today, 19 degrees already, and it's 10:27. A little bit overcast, but still a beautiful day. So today's been a day of repairs, hasn't it, Jimmy?
Yep, fucking Chinese components again.
Show me.
So again, these are these push-on clips. So this is a good one. This is a John Guest one. Right, so these actually work pretty well. Like you push them on the hose, pull them back, and they lock themselves in. But these tube knockoffs, they have a tendency to break. The only thing that holds it in is that pissy little circlet there. See that?
Yeah.
Right, so over time that just gives. And of course, being hot water, especially being under a little bit of pressure, it just pops, and when they give way, they just give way all of a sudden. So you know,
lucky I knew what to expect this time.
Yeah, well,
I heard a pop, and then I heard running water, and I thought, what's that? Yeah. And I thought you had the tap on outside. And
the problem is, if you're in the van when it happens, it's okay. But if you're not in the van, imagine the fucking damages.
Oh, well, this time it only made it as far as the bathroom and didn't work its way to the rest of the caravan. Last time it was all the way to the front door.
Yeah, but you know, it's just, you know, it doesn't fucking need to be that bad. I mean, if they'd put in 2 more connections than they need for a start, like, all you really need is that elbow and a straight join, which unfortunately we're not going to be able to make do with this. Actually, we might be able to make do with that, because that joint still works. So you see how that locks on there? You just push it on. If you want to release it, you just pull that down. You pull that L back up. Yeah. That comes underneath. So that might fix our problem, actually.
Until tomorrow anyway. Can you make sure it's not going to happen again?
Well, we'll fix it until tomorrow anyway, because at least they've used a braided hose. Gives the camera. At least they've used a braided hose here, which has got a bit of give in it. So this is my problem where that joint is, but now with an elbow and a straight joint, because that's a braided hose, I'll be able to fix it temporarily anyway. But not much room to work in here.
And what else happened today?
What else did we do today? Oh yeah,
the bed.
Here's another one for you today. So again, you know, and like, these fucking caravans aren't cheap now. Like this, the current model of this van is $110,000. Right, so they're not cheap. There's a lot of me on the TV there. Yeah. So lift the bed up. So there's 2 gas struts that hold the bed up. They're 450 Newton meters, or 45 kilo struts. So that's a strut strong enough where you couldn't physically push it in. You know, if you held the 2 ends of it between your arms, unless you were, you know, Schwarzenegger, you wouldn't be able to push it together. So 45 kilos is a fair bit of load. So that's anchored on the frame, which is a, what have we got, 40 by 20 piece of hardwood, and screwed into a piece of chipboard at the back of the board. So what happens is that over time, every time you lift the bed up, it loads up. So it's anchored pretty well here on a plate, anchored the steel there, so no problem there on the 2 anchor points. But what it's pushing against this bit of timber, and that was just screwed to 65mm screws. Actually, I'll do it on the other side because you can see a bit better. I'll get the torch as well.
Press pause?
No. So originally those 2 screws with the washers on it, was all that was holding it in there, so that's going through, I'm guessing, 42, probably 45 mil piece of hardwood into a 19 mil piece of chipboard, so it's only anchored on 2 points. On the other side of the chipboard there's nothing. So what's happening is that the weight of the bed and a 450 newton metre gas strut was pushing against this. So this, what's a fan there, 5 years old?
Yeah.
5.5 years old, so after 5.5 years of lifting the bed up and down, it's just been pushing and pushing and pushing. So yesterday we went and put the bed down and it just gave.
That was today.
Corner, or today was it?
Yeah.
Just gave in that corner and pushed this whole frame away.
Mm.
So, I mean, all it took to fix it was to anchor it properly, anchor it to the floor and use the right size screws.
And get 2 new struts.
Yeah. But,
how much did they cost?
well, the struts were 120 bucks for the pair, 10 bucks worth of screws, and how to fix it. But if they had done it right when they were making the van, it would have taken them 30 seconds to do it right. But, you know, so, you know, like I'm saying, this current model of this van's 110 grand. And that's what you get. Most of the components are Chinese. The chipboard, shit chipboard. As a matter of fact, I'd reckon that chipboard's imported from China. You know, it's just not well compressed board. It's the sort of crap you'd expect to get, you know, for half price basically. But anyway, you live and you learn. So if you want to be a caravaner,
yes,
you need to be a little bit handy.
Yes, so you can fix all these things.
Fix shit, because shit breaks. So, you know.
We're lucky this happened while we're in the caravan park.
Like, yeah. So if that happens when you're out in the middle of nowhere, A, it wets the floor, but B, it empties your water tank.
Mm.
You know. So we've got in the habit over the years of if we're running on the pump, like here we're plugged in the mains at the moment because we're in the caravan park. So if we're not plugged in the mains, we turn the pump off anytime we're not using the water for stuff like that, because you've only got, what have we got, 180 litres of water, you know, and at 11 litres a minute, do the maths, 20 minutes all your water's gone. So you wouldn't want to be somewhere where you didn't have any water and you were
and couldn't top it up again
200 or 300 k's from the next water supply.
Mm.
But anyway, the adventures of caravanning.
But it's good.
It gives me something to do anyway.
Yes.
See, since I've been doing this, I've had no beer.
That's all right. Well, we'll tell you more if anything else goes wrong.
Anyway, I reckon I can fix this using this thing.
Good. Otherwise, I'm not having a shower in here tomorrow, am I?
I just wish there was a bigger fucking cupboard so I could get into it.
They make them for kids.
Where do I put that new joiner?
Come on, up here? Does this sit here?
Yep.
I'll leave you to it.
Okay, so we've had an interesting morning. Managed to get all the parts. So
Jim and Wendy's plumbing service.
so Jimmy could fix the sink. I managed to get the clothes washed, the towels washed and dried because they were soaking wet, even though I hung them up all night. And because we're going out bush camping, there's no way that they would have dried. It would have stunk. It would have been a pain in the ass. So I had to do it all really quickly. And yeah, so we got that done. So now where are we headed?
West MacDonnell Ranges.
Caution,
now.
approaching red light camera and speed camera.
Got the first stop this morning will be Simpson Gap, and then Stanley Chasm after that. So, but we're going to camp out. Again, can't remember the name of the place. I think it's Redwood or something like that, which is almost, or it's actually just past the end of the tar road, which is about 120 k's west of Alice. So we're just on the Larapinta Drive now, so it's basically this road for the next 4 or 5 days. There's lots of gorges and walks off this road, so we'll go out here for 4 to 5 days. We'll have a look at the dirt road, see what it's like. If it's badly corrugated, we won't bother. But if it's not, if it's in good nick, we might go to Kings Canyon. So we'll make that decision when we get there.
If you get my van covered in dust on the inside again, I am going to hurt you.
Or we just fucking let the water fittings break and wash it for you.
I must admit, most of the red dirt's gone now that was in the floor. But yeah, a good way to wash the floor, isn't it?
Yes, all fun and adventures of caravanning.
Well, we'll give you a look at our next stop. We were planning on leaving at about 8:30 this morning.
Oh, here's something interesting for you. So if you are caravanning, so the caravan fittings are called John Guest fittings, the caravan plumbing fittings. They're like the push together fittings for 12mm pipe. So desert dwellers do have them in Alice Springs, and Bunnings normally carry them, but they're out of stock at the moment. And those guys charge, you know, sort of $12 to $14, $15 per fitting. I went into Reese Plumbing Supplies in Alice Springs, and they had them for less than half that. So I got 5 fittings for $29 from Reese. That would have cost me $80 at Desert Dwellers or one of those. So yeah, so if you are looking for John Guest fittings in Alice Springs, go to Reese Plumbing Supplies.
Good job.
Cool, look at that.
Isn't that beautiful? All right, well, we'll show you a bit more when we get to one of the spots that we're going to stop at. Bye for now. They seem a lot higher than the East Ranges. And before I was so rudely interrupted before, I was going to tell you how the incident with the water tap happened at about 10 o'clock. Just as it was getting dark. So it was about 7 o'clock last night. And then, so there was water everywhere. So I had to use all the towels and everything to mop it up. So we had to be out of the campground by 10 o'clock next day, and Jimmy had to go and get the parts. So we had planned on leaving at 8:30, but because he had to go get the parts, we had to wait. So while he was doing that, I had all the clothes, all the towels hanging up on the line, but they were still saturated. So it was a massive race. Stick the stuff in the washing machine, stick it in the dryer, got it finished just in time. Jimmy went back and forth getting parts, got it together. We left the campground at 10:04, and then had to go to the IGA to get toilet paper because luckily the toilet paper soaked up most of the water, which meant no more toilet paper. So by the time we did that and we left, it was really only about 11 o'clock. So that sort of has rescheduled most of our day, so we don't know how many stops we're going to get to do along the way. So we'll keep you posted, but definitely if you're looking at these ranges, the West Ranges are absolutely beautiful.
So these are some of the places we're going to try to get to in the national park. So starting off at Simpson's Gap, then Stanley Chasm, Hugh Gorge, Ellery Creek, Serpentine Gorge, the Ochre Pits, Glen Helen Gorge, we probably won't go there, Ormiston Gorge, Mount Sonder, I think 2 mile, Red Bank Gorge is where we're staying, and Ghost Bluff. I'm not sure if we'll get out there, but see how we go.
Can we take a picture of that?
No. The sun's sort of right up above us at the moment, so it's a little bit hard to appreciate the colour of these cliffs, but they're considerably higher than the ranges at the east side. Must be plenty of water under the ground here too, the size of these trees.
The track is well done and easy to follow. Wouldn't have any trouble with kids on this one.
No. It says no push bikes there, but there's push bike tracks everywhere.
Could be wheelchair.
No, it's push bikes.
Oh, yeah.
So it looks like there's a tourist bus group here at the moment.
No.
Not much water in it at the moment, but I'd imagine it'll fill up quick when they get some of the rain out here. So it's a pretty small gap. And apparently they found this when they were surveying for the overland telegraph track that went from Adelaide to Darwin in 1871. And then I suppose it would have to be this time of year that they could get through it. Once the wet season would be on it, you'd have a lot more water in here.
Is that a cave?
No, just the chasm. So the difference in the colour of the rocks when you get the sun behind you. Pretty nice. The water's a bit manky looking at the moment because they haven't had rain here for a few weeks. Test it. Oh, you wouldn't be swimming in that. You'd be brave to go swimming in there. Very nice this looks. Not as manky looking here.
Do you record it?
No.
So, as we were walking back from our inspection of the gap, I noticed a lot of water running out from under the van. And I said, oh shit. But it is only...
We parked on a hill so the tanks were overflowing. I filled the tanks up just as we left Hell Springs and parked on a hill and the front tank overflowed.
So we're good.
Good.
Because would not have been happy if all our water was running out before we go bush camping. The view is just spectacular.
So Stanley Chasm's pretty well set up. Got a pretty good cafe and toilets and that. Costs you got to pay an entry fee to go in, $12 for adults, and that covers the cost of maintaining the place. So it's a 1.2 kilometre walk to Stanley Chasm. I think it's 1.2 kilometres return. I reckon it's 15 minutes each way. Pretty good track, as you can see. It's pretty lush out here, considering it's the middle of the desert. You got palm trees and that going up through these
Watch your ankles.
little valleys.
Stop walking when you take the photo.
pretty amazing. This, it's in the middle of the desert, and that creek in a couple of points have springs coming up from the ground, and with a few sources of natural water supply in the desert. And in the wet season, this pretty much fills up. I reckon in the wet season the water runs through the car park like a river.
I wonder why they put it over there.
Maybe the track used to be over there. Looks like they've smashed up a bit of the quartz and granite to make a bit of a walking track through here. That tree seems to be pretty happy here. Well, that's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is so hard. You'd wonder like how long it's taken.
How smooth is it?
Yeah, how long did it take for the water to wear that through there, eh?
Better not walk with my hands in my pocket. I could be far on the fence.
Yeah, good place to do an ankle, isn't it? So I reckon this is one of the few places in the world where these plants still remain. Don't be graffitiing on that, you.
No, I'm trying to see. You know how they say you can.
You wouldn't chip that one.
Yeah.
So I was walking past here and it reminded me of a joke. So actually this was told to me by a guy that worked in the one of the open cut mines in New Guinea, and he was a site foreman. And I don't know if you know much about the New Guinea natives, but they like to chew on mustard seeds and spit it everywhere, but they generally stand around with their hands in their pockets until they get instructions on what to do for the day. So anyway, foreman was running a little bit late one day, and he gets to the side office and there's 4 of the fellas standing around, you know, with their hands in their pockets, and one of them's got his foot up on a wheelbarrow full of rubbish, and he says, what are you fellas doing? Standing around with your hands in your pockets. I mean, what's that wheelbarrow doing full of rubbish? Take it and put it in the tip. And they all go, oh yes boss, back to work boss. And off they go. Anyway, man goes into the office, does what he's got to do to get the day's work sorted out. He comes back out half an hour later, and here's the 4 fellas standing around again. He goes, what are you 4 fellas still doing here, standing around? He goes, oh, waiting you to tell us what to do, boss. Where's that bloody wheelbarrow? He goes, in the tip, boss. Busy little spot here at Ellery Creek. So, not sure how far the walk in is, but we'll get down to the sign and have a read. So we've got a paved pathway down to the water hole here. It's only 100 metres from the car park, so you could even get down on a wheelchair.
We found the flies. We were commenting on how there were no flies, and even where we were last eating, and now we got here and then they're everywhere.
Just you might need a shower, mate.
I had a shower this morning, buddy.
Well, this is pretty special out in the middle of the desert. There's a couple of people in swimming. Yeah. It's only like 20 degrees and it gets down to like 2 at night, so the water's freezing. Is that a person down the other end there?
Yeah, we floated on the tube down there.
Is that a person down the other end?
Not really. It's nice in there. I was like just through the gorge. Yeah, yeah. That's the nicest part through the gorge. There's not much on the other side. I didn't walk too far.
Did you guys see him over there?
That's not a hiking trail. So the
one has been attacked.
Yeah, yeah. So it's on that side of the range.
I thought it was on this side and there was an option to go on the other
I
side.
think it crosses over a few times, and this one goes behind and it comes back over. So,
Okay, see.
where the next gorge is.
Because I was planning to do the Larapita, but I didn't know if
This is the walk into Serpentine Gorge. Pretty rocky, a little hard on the ankles this one, but flat just the same. This is the track to the lookout at Serpentine Creek. Pretty rocky, I should have brought my walking stick, but just go slowly. Try to watch where we're going.
Oh wow.
Pretty good view so far. It's pretty steep towards the top. Wear good shoes if you're going to do this one. This the view from about 3/4 of the way up the lookout walk at Serpentine Gorge. Hard work. Oh wow, it's down into the gorge. Oh, that's a long way down.
You won't like it over here? You don't like heights?
My thing is not heights. It's not an edge for me. Long way down, huh?
Yeah. I'd say, judging by this, the creek's empty.
Yeah. That's what I say. Spectacular. You wonder how the hell these trees grow there.
Who found the trail up here in the first place? They obviously did a bit of work on it.
Good work to the guys that carried this stuff up here. I'm tipping they might have brought it up by helicopter, but
You reckon?
it's a fair walk, wind, isn't it?
It is. Hey, Mom, look. I'm a mountain climber.
Long way down.
A little bit of water left in there. I reckon that's where you probably walk out to when you follow the creek track.
Yeah.
Now we don't have to go there.
True. Yeah, well, another one of those little bit of walks that's a bit harder to do, but worth the views when you do it. So this is
Look at that tree up there in that gap.
yeah. You wonder how the hell they grow out there in the rocks. Spectacular. The track going up is pretty hard on the lungs, but geez, it's hard on the knees going back down.
You right?
Yep. Yep, bring your walking stick with you if you're going to do this one.
Red Bank Gorge. It's 5:15 and 22 degrees outside, so this is where we're going to be camping tonight. So we're heading to our campsite, and we should be here for 4 nights and do little day trips from here. Very excitement. Big corrugated road, so this is a dirt road to come in.
So we decided to have a day off today. We did that big walk up that hill yesterday, and that wore us out. So
Yeah, that was hard.
that was hard. That was hard
very
work.
steep
So
walk.
what was that one called? It was the Serpentine Gorge,
Yeah, and then we walked up to the lookout.
the lookout walk. Yeah, it's a lookout walk at Serpentine Gorge. Hard work, but worth doing. Allow yourself a couple of hours. We left it a bit late in the day, so
I think it was only going to take us 15 minutes
Yeah.
and back.
yeah. So yeah, allow yourself a couple of hours for that one, but definitely do it. We're set up now at Red Bank Gorge campground, and we went out, found an old dry creek bed, and went down in the car and got a bit of firewood and chopped all that up. So we're gonna have a little fire tonight and then chillax. But tomorrow we'll go to a couple more gorges. It's pretty peaceful here at the moment. The neighbours have gone for a drive or a walk or something. But
It was a bit of a challenge parking the van though.
Yeah, tight spot for the van.
We had to go.
I'd actually drive around the loop and then back in the entrance track because if you drive past and try back in, there's not enough room to turn. So I went around the block. It's like a loop track, and then
Reverse.
there's a like a Y junction up that way, 100 metres. So I had to back the van back down the track about 100 metres, and then got it in there in a couple of goes. But anyway, that's what makes these places interesting, is that they're a little bit harder to get to and a little bit harder to do anything. There's less people come here, so.
Yes, and it was interesting because as I was standing there for him and showing him to back up, I was walking and I wasn't looking down.
Oh yeah, she upset all the local ants.
And there's an ant's nest, and so my steps must have upset the ants, because next thing I know, there were masses of them.
There's only a few here now.
Yeah, but if you took a bit of meat and you stuck it over the nest, see where the nest is over there?
Yeah, so.
It was just a swarm of black. I won't even walk there because
it's quieting down a bit now. Yeah, but this was just covered in ants yesterday. The whole place was like this.
Worse. It was worse.
But yeah, it's not too bad now. There's a few bull ants around it, but
You know what it's like when you step on an ant's nest? Well, they start crawling up your legs and like shaking.
yeah, when you're out in the middle of the bush, you got to expect that sort of thing.
That's why I'm not a good camper. I don't like bugs.
Your mate's got a jumper on because she was sitting in the sun, sweating, and the cool breeze was making her cold.
Yeah.
Like, if you just be like me and don't sit in the sun.
Excuse me, I sat in the shade and it got sunny and I was busy. So I just kept going until I couldn't take it anymore, and then I had to get up.
So, dinner's done, fire's going, having a few drinks, and the sun's just sitting in the trees over there. So we're at Red Bank Gorge this morning. We're going to go down and have a look at the gorge. So we got to the car park fairly early, so it's not too hot yet. And it's only a short walk, 2.3 kilometres. A lot of people do that Larapinta Trail walk, which is like over 100 kilometres. So it goes from Alice Springs, Simpsons Gap, Jay Creek, Hugh Gorge Ellery, Serpentine, Ormiston, Fink, and up to here, Red Bank. It'd be a keen walker to do that. Another beautiful morning. One thing about winter in Central Australia, early in the morning is just spectacular. So dry season, the riverbeds are just bone dry, but look how high the water gets. All this stuff's washed up here, so that's got to be what, 3 metres high. Must have been some water coming down here. Getting near the end of the gorge now. Did fish every now and then. There's loads of these native fish. There's a live one there. A couple of live ones. So apparently they all die off every year, or most of them die off every year because of the lack of oxygen in the water. But that's an annual thing, it's meant to happen. Surprising with all the dead fish, it doesn't smell and there's not flies everywhere.
Yeah, it's fun, yeah.
I suppose birds get a lot of them, I suppose.
You think these would always be clean? The wind's blowing them down to that section, that's why.
Yeah. Nah. So they all seem to be getting blown over here to this side. Is that a carp there? No. But how pretty is this, eh? If you come a couple of months early when there was still water in it, it'd be warmer and be nice to swim in.
I think it's still always cold.
Oh, it'll always be cold there. Amazing, eh? Another one of those little surprises in the middle of the desert. So this one's Rockbank Gorge.
A couple alive in here.
Yeah.
So they mustn't all die.
No, no. No, there's live ones in there.
So
Wouldn't expect to see that out in the middle of the desert, would you?
in the middle of a gorge.
Red rocks, I love it. So two things about doing the walks early in the morning. Out here is one is it's not too hot, and two is there's no crowd. Because come about 10 or 11 o'clock, all the tour buses turn up, and these places can be hard to get a picture without a tourist in it. So this is the map of the area that we're in at the moment. So we've come from Alice Springs along this way. We camped at Red Bank Gorge, and we've come for a drive out to about here somewhere to Tyler's Pass, and it's a drive up, look out on the top of a hill, and you got 360-degree views. Small mountain range in the distance there. Loads of wildflowers and that around here. We'll send the drone up for a look. So another gorge today. This is Ormiston Gorge walk. So apparently the waterhole's only about 300 metres from the car park, but nice red cliffs again. You think you'd get sick of looking red cliffs, but you don't.
No, they're all the same but different.
Mm. So this is the waterhole at Ormiston Gorge. So this gets quite full during the wet season. I reckon people swim in here all year round, but it is so cold I'm not getting in. Wendy might get in though.
I like the cold less than you do. If I jumped in and it's cold, it's because I didn't check the water first. Oh, look at those ghost thumbs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's that other track back that way, I think.
Cold?
Oh, it's a bit nippy.
That it might be.
Worth it though.
Yeah.
No.
I'll take your word for it. It's windy today.
So how come they're fishing here?
I don't know. Matt. Nice view from up here though. It's all
Okay.
hard rock, isn't it?
Very. That's just dry creek bed that keeps going.
Jump up on the top and have a look.
Just remember, whatever we climb up, we have to climb back down again. The knees aren't what they used to be.
This is the walk to the Ghost Gun Lookout. Looks like a bit of a challenge. Up here. That's where we're trying to get to, way over there. Nearly there. We made it.
Trying to turn live off. Finally.
The only problem with getting all the way up here is you've got to go back down again. My knees hurt just thinking about it. So there's another track over there that you can do a loop in, but apparently at the moment you've got to swim through about 2 metres deep water. So we won't be doing that one. Because although it's sunny, it's still only about 10 degrees. view from here. So this is the walk into Glen Helen Gorge. Yeah, 800 metres from the car park. And, basically followed the creek bed. Pretty easy go on this one so far.
Looks like concrete.
Yeah, it is concrete, it is. Is it? Yeah, it is concrete. Yeah. Oh, no, stone. Yeah.
It does. It looks like concrete.
Yeah, it is.
I should take a photo of that, shouldn't I? So you got it on the GoPro, haven't you?
Yeah, wait till we get around the corner, you get a better view of the gorge, I think. Of the gap. There's a jungle walking here.
Yeah.
Been thinking. Water here.
Is as far as we go?
Oh, hang on, I can see you, man.
No. No, because it would just be all the way now.
Yeah, like that, not going that way. Oh, there's the gorge.
Extend it.
So when you're at the car park and you see the sign saying alternate route to Glen Helen Gorge, don't take that one. You got to walk through about 100 metres of that. All the little fish in there.
Yeah. It's not very big, is it?
No, this is not the main part, I don't think. Let's keep struggling through. Pretty tough going getting through all these reeds on this one. Don't follow us, we could be going the wrong way.
Eh?
Don't get them to follow us, we could be going the wrong way.
Well, no, at least there's a path here.
Getting nearly ready for a swim now.
Ah.
There's tons of those little fish in there.
Tons of fish.
There's a big one, a couple of big ones down in the hole.
Oh, yeah. Be nice if you needed to swim.
It's a bit, a lot of algae in it though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't swim in it.
No. You end up with your mate. What do you say? Swim in green water and he's sick as.
Only the fish don't seem to mind it.
Their nest must be up there.
Mm.
Oh, look at all the little fish jumping.
Mm. Bit of luck you might see that. I think that might be a falcon. You don't see him when he's perched on the rock, do you?
Yeah, barely.
Mm. Glen Helen Gorge resort or caravan park. The Wikicamps reviews are not fair on it. It's pretty well setup. This is the back of the restaurant, which has got, that's your view out of the back of the restaurant. The place has just been developed, so it's still got a lot of stuff to do, but the bar's up and open, restaurants are open, toilets are open. Well, there's a falcon come for a visit. Yeah, so I'd say for a caravan park in the middle of nowhere, this is definitely good value for money. I think it was $30 a night. So might
And
go
they're
up.
putting petrol here.
Oh yeah, they're starting to install those self-serve fuel stations. But yeah, the prices will probably go up once it's finished, but at the moment I think it's pretty good value.
It's Saturday morning. Yeah, 7:51 here, and it's 3 degrees. So a little bit chilly morning. We're up and headed to Hermansburg.
Hermansburg today, yeah. We'll go there, we're out of water, so we'll go there, might stay in the caravan park for a day and have a bit of a wash and tidy up, restock a little bit, and then we'll go down to Fink Gorge after that, so we'll probably leave the van in Hermansburg and just take the car down. So I think it's only about 30 k's.
30 k's?
Hermansburg to Fink.
Alright, so look at that beautiful sunshine, sunrise. Sky's a little bit of cloud, but that'll probably be clear hours later on today.
Yeah,
It's beautiful to see the blue skies, isn't it?
The weather's been perfect, hasn't it?
Yeah, can't complain about the weather.
A little fresh in the morning, but by 9:30 it's 15, 16 degrees.
Oh, it got to 20,
23 yesterday.
23,
24 yesterday.
24 yesterday. So we will bring you a bit more of the scenery and as we go along. So we'll talk to you again later. Have a great day.
precinct. So this was a mission built by some German Lutherans in 1877. So we'll have a bit of a look around. Looks like the remains of an early Ford and an early FC Holden. They would have had a hard life. Linoleum vinyl floor tiles. Look at the ceiling. And the walls are 350, 400 mil wide. I know these buildings stay standing. And cheap chuck penny at the back. The mess house and ration store built in 1903. Corrugated iron roof. It's just like the shelving you buy at Bunnings. Flagstone pavers everywhere.
Pink River. And that's the section, and where are we? Herman's Gap?
Hermansburg.
Hermansburg.
Going to Fink Gorge, which is Palm Valley.
Huh. Look at this mountains. Conditions. These sandy, lower your tire pressures. Four-wheel drives only. No lower than PSI. 10 PSI. It says no lower than 10 PSI. I didn't think so either.
25 and 30.
25 and 30. So, what are you doing, Jimmy?
Letting some air out of the tyres
Why?
to soften the ride a little bit, take some of the shaking out of the car,
Yeah.
and a bit of rest for the suspension, the shockers.
I see. And what's this little tool you're using?
It's a tyre deflator. This one, push this middle one in, it unscrews the valve, the tyre valve, and then when you pull this, it just says currently at 38
Yeah.
PSI, so I want to do about 25. Must not have the valve out all the way.
That was 25.
Yeah.
There you go.
323.
Very good. So that'll make the ride less bumpy, because apparently there's a bit of corrugations on here, even though it's quite sandy. River crossing with no water. Just entered the national park. Which one are we doing?
Well, you can go either way. You go up first and then come back down.
Sure.
Yeah. So we'll do this one.
Yep. Is that the one?
We've got water, we've got a hat, we've got sunscreen. Let's go. G'day.
Yeah, Steve, I agree.
Cool, huh? Palm Valley in the Fink Gorge. That's what they call it, Palm Valley. This is beautiful. The rock looks like it's just ready to fall.
inside?
It says the track goes this way.
Did you want me to? And they were afraid of sheep and goats because they might attack them.
Yeah. I just love the way you get the ghost gums just sort of standing on their own
Look at the root.
in the middle of nowhere. You wonder how they get the water to survive. Bit of handiwork here. Fuel stop. The Alice Springs helicopters. So they've got to get all this material out here somehow. They use helicopters. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Out in the middle of the desert. There's a big chunks falling out of the side of the cliff.
So how's your feet, Mr. Grumpy?
Fucking sore.
What did you do?
Well, the navigator didn't put any socks in my boots, so I had to wear my boots with no socks, and now I have blisters on the back of both my feet.
Because you didn't bother to bring your running shoes, did ya?
I'd rather wear my boots with no socks anyway.
Yeah. So whose feet go in the boots?
Mine, but the navigator's job is to put all the shit in the car.
Unless she's got to deal with Mr. Rush. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. It's like he gets up, makes a cup of tea, I get out of bed, and as I'm drinking up my cup of tea, he's going, come on, let's go.
Dude, you've been getting like 9 hours sleep. That's fucking 3 hours more than you need.
How do you know what I need?
6 hours is plenty.